Have you ever noticed that your friends might be pulling away from you? Maybe they don't invite you out as often as they used to, or when you're around them, everyone just gets really quiet and just kind of looking away and not making eye contact with you. And I want you to just ask yourself now, what could you be doing that is kind of distancing yourself from them? And in this video, we're going to talk about how you might be giving off this very negative energy, this negative vibe that has kind of become what your friends expect from you. And don't worry, we're also going to talk about toxic positivity, because this video isn't about how you need to show up and just always be happy and always be excited and everything's always great. Really, what we're going to talk about is, what are you always talking about? And I think when you stop to think about or unthink about how you're showing up in your friends' circles, and what is the main topic that you bring up all the time? Are you always just, oh God, life sucks and everything's terrible and oh God, everything's so shitty? Or hopefully, maybe it's like 50-50. Hey, there are times, trust me, when life is just absolute garbage and things are just not going how they're supposed to, and you just feel like, oh my gosh, there's nothing I can do that's going right in the world. And while that does happen, there's a lot of good that happens in your life, isn't there? A lot of good that maybe you just missed. That maybe taking a second and just really being thankful that, man, maybe some of these problems, maybe there are things that, as crazy as this might sound, that some of these problems are a privilege. A privilege to have. I mean, let's say, for instance, starting a YouTube channel. I could sit here and go, oh man, it sucks. I only have X amount of views. I only have X amount of comments. I only have X amount of this. Or, oh, I can only videotape on these days. The fact that I get to sit here, have this conversation with you, and help you figure things out as we kind of just go along this journey. Wow. How amazing, really, that I get to complain about, oh gosh, I don't have this, I don't have that. Because I have the ability and the things to be able to complain about those things, right? And I think in one of my previous videos, I talk a lot about this vortex, this energy vortex that we get caught in of just negativity and, this like never-ending cycle of just negative, unresourceful thoughts. And when you show up to your friends, I think, yes, is there a time and place to vent? To, hey, look, I just need someone to listen to me real quick. But if that's every single conversation and you're not also sharing, in different moments, it doesn't have to be in that conversation, but just in different moments, sharing the great things that are happening in your life. And it's always just 100%. You only show up or only talk when things are going bad. What will happen? And it's not necessarily anyone's fault, right? This is just how we are. Your friends will start to associate you with, oh great. Oh, okay. Oh, so-and-so's coming. Okay, well, just make sure everybody has enough energy to, compensate for all of the misery and all of the things, right? Like, these things, it's unfortunate. It just happens. And the more you vote for that unresourceful self, that image, the more your friends are going to feel this way. And they may not tell you, right? Because they're your friends. They love you. They want you to feel like you can vent and everything. Just make sure that you're also showing up when your life is good. And sharing with them when life is awesome. And the work on the reframing of, what is really bad and what's terrible and what's good, and finding the silver linings and all that. We'll talk about that another time. Right now, I just want to open up your mind to how could you be showing up in a more fun way, in a more resourceful way, in a more, you could say, positive. And again, I really want to stress that it's not that you can only talk when things are good. It's that with any relationship, friendship, all the things, there has to be a flow. If you are always, and when I say always, like, let's say maybe more than 80% of your communication outwards to your friend group is my life sucks, chances are they're going to see you and think, oh God, life sucks. And you, because you love your friends, right? You want them to be happy. You want to support them. You want to do all the wonderful things and, bring a positive energy, right? When you can. Try to go for 50-50. 50% of the time, hey, you know what? Let them have the chance to talk about how, man, maybe life is just not that great for them right now. And then you can be that support system for them, right? Which is always, we'll talk about this in another video, but which can be just listening to them, right? Hearing them out, let them be in it for a little bit, and then ask if they want advice or not, or, what are they looking for? Get some clear expectations. We talked about getting a receipt. And then when it's your turn, in another conversation, maybe, then, share what's going on with you. And there just has to be this balance between the two things. And I think another great question to ask yourself is just, what can you do to bring more balance to your friendships, to your relationships? And if these kinds of questions are interesting to you and are causing you to kind of think a little bit and just reflect on how you're showing up for your friends, make sure that you subscribe and like, and also hit that notification bell so that way you get notified when we do post new content. And also just comment, maybe some questions you have about how can I show up in a more positive way for my friends, in a more supportive way. Because your intention is not to bring your friends down. And they know that. It's just if your behaviors are always in that negative space, that unresourceful space, then every time, like I said, you're showing up, you're voting. Okay, I'm the unresourceful person. I'm the one that, oh my God, like the world is always ending. I'm the one that is always like this. And you may actually notice that the more you focus on how can I show up to support my friends, to really be there for them when their lives feel like they're just absolute garbage, that when you give that energy out, it will just come back naturally. Where then they will start to, oh, hey, like, oh, you know, I was just talking about me, but like, yeah, what's going on with you? Oh, yeah, you know, like this little thing is happening and, you know, blah, 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 but, you know, I'm here to support you and, you know, we can talk about me another time. And we talk about this a lot in coaching and leadership. It's always about serving others first, and then they will take care of you. And if you reframe your mind to think in that way, then it will come back to you, and that support will be there. And if it's not, you know, maybe you need new friends. I mean, that's always a possibility, right? You want to get better friends, it happens. Sometimes you outgrow friends, whatever. Hopefully you can keep your friends, and they will pay it back to you tenfold, the support you give them. And support them so they can support you. And I think you're going to see that as you, like I said earlier, reframe yourself, reframe your mindset around that, I think your outlook is probably going to change a little bit, at least, on how you view life. And you'll start to see the positive things in your life that are happening. And realize that, yes, are there terrible days? Of course. They're always going to be there, no matter what. It's going to happen. But that those days are so far and few in between that all of your positive, amazing life events, man, those are so many more. You know, like, your group of friends wants to be there for you, and you want to be there for them, and you all want to just live a happy life. Just, oh man, not always think about how terrible things are, because trust me, yes, are there a million things that you could be focused on about how terrible the world is, or life is, or your friends, or well, your other friends are, or people at work, people at school, whatever. Yes, you could probably find millions of things. And I bet that if you really wanted to, now, you actually could find 10 times more wonderful, beautiful things to be grateful for, to be thankful for. And those things will make it so that when those big things happen in your life that are just crushing, you're going to find that it's a lot easier to get through, because you are a part of creating this amazing circle of friends who just supports each other through everything in a healthy, resourceful way. All right. Well, as always, stay excellent, be excellent, and remember, your friends love you, hopefully. And we all know that you love your friends. So show up in a balanced way, in your most excellent way, and they will take care of you.